Hello class, we are here to study one more lesson from science, that is your 13th lesson, air and water. What is air? Air is a mixture of gases. Air is found everywhere. But you cannot see the air. We can feel air. And about water, which is an important essential requirement of human beings, isn't it? Yes, we will be studying the lesson air and water. After studying this lesson, we will understand many terms about air and water. What are those? So we will be studying about the layers of the atmosphere. We will be studying about the properties of air. So we will be studying that water is a solvent, and also we will know the methods of removing the impurities from water. Coming to the lesson, children, we shall study about air first of all. What is air? As I said, air is a mixture of gases which is found everywhere. The atmosphere. We know that air is found all around us. So, we cannot stay alive for more than a few minutes without air. Already in previous chapters, we have studied that oxygen from air is important for us to respire. Without oxygen, we cannot live. So, we need oxygen to breathe or for respiration. All the living organisms need oxygen for breathing. Then, what is atmosphere? The blanket of air that surrounds the earth is called as atmosphere. Our earth is surrounded by a layer of air, a blanket of air. That layer is said to be the atmosphere, and it is 100 kilometers thick, several hundred, many hundred kilometers thick. It is thick near the ground and becomes thinner as we go up high in the air or into the space. So as we reach the space, the air layer fades. That means it slowly disappears. The air becomes thinner as we go higher, and even oxygen is not found in the upper layers of air or in the atmosphere. That is why mountaineers, they will carry oxygen cylinders when they climb high mountains, isn't it? Because in the upper layers of atmosphere there is less amount of oxygen. Layers of the atmosphere. We have many layers in the atmosphere like troposphere, stratosphere, and so on. We shall study one by one. The troposphere. The layer that is nearest to the Earth's surface is the troposphere, and its thickness is about 15 kilometers above the surface of the Earth. And this is the only layer in which the living organisms or the living things can breathe normally because there is oxygen. In this layer, we can see the cloud formation, rain and snow. And most of the weather changes takes place in this layer only. Next is the stratosphere. The layer above the troposphere is the stratosphere, which extends 50 kilometers above from the surface of the earth. And this is the layer where the jet planes usually fly. Next we have mesosphere, which extends about 85 to 90 kilometers above the surface of the earth. And in this mesosphere, we can see meteors burning up in this layer. So meteors are the objects or the piece of matter that enters the Earth's surface from the space. So meteors can be seen in this mesosphere. Next we have thermosphere, which lies above the mesosphere and it extends about 500 to 600 kilometers above the surface of the Earth. After the thermosphere, we have exosphere, which lies above the thermosphere and it literally and slowly fades itself into the space. The air layer becomes thin and finally fades into the space. Now we all understood the different layers of the atmosphere. Which are the different layers of the atmosphere? Troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and exosphere. Now we shall study the importance of atmosphere. First of all, when we speak about atmosphere, we know that atmosphere is a mixture of gases. When we say it is a mixture of gases, the most important gas is the oxygen, which is required by all the living organisms for the process of respiration. The other thing is about the carbon dioxide, which is used by the plants for the preparation of food, or plants use carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. The next thing about an important gas that is found in the atmosphere is ozone layer, or ozone we can see. So this stratosphere contains a layer known as ozone, and it is a protective layer of the earth because the sun gives out the rays known as ultraviolet rays, and these ultraviolet rays are very harmful to living beings. These rays, if it enters the earth, cause skin cancer and other problems. So, this ozone layer is a protective layer which absorbs the ultraviolet rays of the sun and prevents it from entering the earth. That is why it is a protective layer which is found in the atmosphere, or in we can say it is found in the stratosphere. And one more importance of atmosphere is that the atmosphere will absorb a large part of the heat from the sun, and it prevents the earth from getting overheated. The heat of the sun will be absorbed in atmosphere itself. Most of the heat will be trapped in the atmosphere, and this prevents the earth from getting overheated. And during night also, what happens is it will retain the heat, the atmosphere will retain the heat and prevents the earth from getting freezing cold. So we can say that the earth will have moderate temperature, or it will not be heated up, or it will not be freezing cold in the earth. That is why the living organisms can survive properly. So what is the importance of atmosphere now? First of all, we have oxygen in the atmosphere. Then carbon dioxide is found in the atmosphere, which is used by the plants. Then the atmosphere will trap heat, so it prevents the earth from getting overheated. At the same time, when the heat is retained in the atmosphere, the earth will not get freezing cold at night. One more thing is about the ozone layer, which is a protective layer which protects the earth from the ultraviolet rays of the sun. It will not allow the ultraviolet rays of the sun to reach the surface of the earth, and hence all the living organisms are protected. What does air contain? As I explained already, that air contains a mixture of gases. Do you think only the air contains only the gases or something else? Of course, the air contains something else also, that is humidity. Water vapor is also present in air. So let us see about the percentage of different gases that is found in the air. We have the composition of air here. A graph is given where green color represents nitrogen, blue color represents oxygen, and 1% of brown color represents other gases here. What is it? Let us study. See, air is a mixture of gases. About 78% of air is nitrogen. So, which is the highest percent of gas that is found in the atmosphere? It is the nitrogen. Nitrogen is found abundantly in the atmosphere. Then about 21% is the oxygen, and only 1% we have other gases like argon and carbon dioxide. So 0.03% is of carbon dioxide, 1% is mainly of argon, isn't it? It is very important for the living world as plants use it to make food. So carbon dioxide is very important for the living beings because plants make use of carbon dioxide to make their food, and all the other living organisms are dependent on plants directly or indirectly. Air also contains something else other than these gases. It may be water vapor, dust and smoke. Water vapor in air comes from evaporation of water from all the water sources like oceans, rivers and lakes. Then, humid. What do you mean by humid? When there is a lot of water vapor in the air, the condition is said to be humid. So, the amount of water vapor in air is called as humidity. And during the summer season, the weather condition will be very hot, and if it is humid, it will be more uncomfortable because we sweat a lot and our skin also feels very sticky. Isn't it, children? Yes. Properties of air. First of all, air occupies a space. We all know that air is everywhere, but we cannot see it. Of course, we can feel the air. Whenever wind blows or when the fan is on, we can feel the air. Can we say that an empty cup or a glass is really empty? No, because anything which is empty will be filled up with air. So we cannot say that anything to be empty. Of course, it will have air in it. That is why we say that air occupies space. In order to explain it, we have an example here. If we take an empty glass and pour water into it, of course, the water fills the glass easily. Whatever air was there inside the glass will escape from the glass when water fills the glass. But when you take a bowl half filled with water, and if you stuff the bottom of an empty glass with cotton wool and hold the glass upside down, and if you slowly push it into the water without tilting like this as shown in this picture. Do you think water enters the glass? No, because the water could not enter the glass as air could not escape, as air could not escape from the glass. But in the second case, if you just tilt the glass or bend the glass slightly to your right or left, as you immerse the glass into the vessel containing water, what will happen? The air from the glass will escape. You can see the bubbles coming out from the glass. That means the air from the glass will escape making sound, and water from the vessel enters the glass. That is why we say that air occupies space. One more property of air is air has weight. In order to explain, we have an example given here. In this picture, what can you see? We can see that two balloons are taken. It is inflated, that means it is filled with air, and it is tied up at the ends of the scale. The scale is hung in a proper way, and we have to make sure that both the ends of the scale are at the same level. The next thing what we are going to do is we will prick one of the balloons slowly and carefully to see to it that the air escapes from that balloon. When the air escapes from one of the balloon, one end of the scale where the balloon with air is there comes down. So this says that the balloon contains air and it is heavier than the balloon which has no air in it. The next property of air is air exerts pressure. We have an example to do here. You can do at home, children. Fill a glass with water up to its brim. That means to the upper edge of the cup or the glass. The upper edge can be seen here, isn't it? To this upper edge till the brim, you have to fill it with water. And you will place a cardboard or a piece of hard card over the mouth of the glass or over the brim of the glass. You will make sure that no air is trapped in between the cardboard or the card and the water layer or the glass. You will hold the card in place with your hand and you will turn the glass upside down. You will remove your hand slowly. Now you can find that the card will stay in its place and it will not fall down, because the water will not allow the card to fall down. At the same time, we can say that there is air exerting pressure on the card from below. The air exerts pressure upwards, the water exerts pressure downwards. The water in the glass exerts pressure downwards, whereas the air outside the cardboard exerts pressure upwards. But here we have to say that the pressure exerted by the air upwards is more than the pressure exerted by water downwards. So, the cardboard remains as it is without falling from the glass. Air presses from all sides on everyone and everything. Okay, from this we can say that air exerts pressure. Now we all know that air exerts pressure. One more thing we have to understand is air exerts pressure. Air presses from all sides on everyone and all the things also. To understand this, we have an example given here. We can take a empty bottle which has a tight fitting cap. We have to pour hot water into the bottle and fix the cap tightly, and after 2 minutes we have to take the bottle in a tray, empty tray or a vessel, and we have to pour cold water and ice on the surface of this bottle whatever we had taken. So we can see that the bottle collapses or it will change its shape. Why is that? Because water vapor from the hot water in the bottle will drive out most of the air from the bottle. When the bottle is cooled, the water vapor inside the bottle will condense. That means water vapor becomes water again. So, there will be no air inside the bottle and the pressure exerted by it is very small. The pressure exerted on all the sides of the bottle by the air outside the bottle is more. So, the bottle will lose its shape. Air pressure is used for many of our activities. For example, we use a straw in order to drink juice or milk from a bottle or a glass. So when we suck in air from the straw, the air pressure inside the straw becomes less. The air pressure on the surface of the drink or the juice will be more than the air pressure that is inside the straw. So this will force the drink into the straw and it enters your mouth. The same thing will go on with a syringe or a medicine dropper. Next, air is needed for burning. For the process of combustion, air is required. Combustion means burning. For anything to burn, air is much important. For this, we have an example given here. We have to take a candle and fix it on a table. Then we have to light the candle and cover the candle with a glass. When we cover the candle with the glass, the flame of the candle burns for few seconds and then it will put off. So why does it put off? Because the candle is covered with the glass. There is no air inside the glass. Whatever air was present inside the glass is used by the flame for 2 seconds. Then it is put off because there is no air inside the glass. This says that air is needed for burning. One more important term we have about atmospheric pollution. Pollution means contamination or dirtying of the nature is said to be pollution. So we have atmospheric pollution, that is air pollution. The air contains particles of dust and smoke. It may also contain some harmful gases. From where do the harmful gases come? Of course, it may be from burning of things like plastics, or it may be from the factories or vehicles, isn't it, children? The smoke comes out when fuels are burnt, like petrol and diesel. It is seen in vehicles. Vehicles release harmful gases into the atmosphere. Harmful gases are let out into the atmosphere from the factories also. So, these harmful gases make the air dirty or polluted and causes air pollution or atmospheric pollution. When fossil fuels, as I said, coal or oil are burnt in factories, or when petrol is burnt in vehicles, poisonous gases are also released into the atmosphere, causing pollution.